you want to learn about pythagorean theorem? Oh, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Ariana, go finish your geometry homework.
I don't want to!
Why not?
It's the Pythagorean theorem and it's too hard!
The Pythagorean theorem?
Yeah!
I can help with that.
Then come help me!
Okay!
So you're telling me that the Pythagorean theorem has to do with right triangles?
It sure does.
Sweet! From what I know, the Pythagorean theorem has an equation. It's a squared plus b squared equals c squared.
Sure is.
But how do you substitute the numbers to the formula?
That's easy. I'll show you.
Sweet.
There are three sides of the right triangle. There is side A, side B, and side C. Side C is otherwise known as the hypotenuse. So when you say a squared plus b squared equals c squared, you mean, in this triangle's case, 8 squared plus 6 squared equals c squared. A is 8 and then b. So you have a and b squared, which will be these two sides, but c is the only one you really have to worry about right now, and that is the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is always the longest side on the triangle and opposite from the right angle. So in this case, this would be c.
So now that we know the hypotenuse is c, we could substitute these two in to the equation. So we could be like 8 squared plus 6 squared equals c squared, right?
Right.
Sweet! What's next?
Okay, now you're left with the formula. 8 squared plus 6 squared equals c squared. Now you just got to complete it. So 8 squared, which is 64, plus 6 squared, which is 36, equals c squared. Now you add 64 and 36, and you get 100. So 100 equals c squared. Now what do you have to do to c squared and 100 to get rid of the squared?
Well, if we square root both of them,
That's right, because when you square root one side, you have to do it to the other side.
so then we'd get c all by itself, and then 10.
Congratulations! You've completed the Pythagorean theorem question.
Yay!
For the converse of the Pythagorean theorem, it gives you a triangle and it expects you to use the formula for the Pythagorean theorem a squared plus b squared equals c squared to tell whether the triangle given is a right triangle or not. So the question being, is this a right triangle or not? Yes or no, and why? Well, you take the angles given and you plug them into the formula where c is 17, a is 8, and 15 is b, and you plug them in where a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So it would be 8 squared plus 15 squared equals 17 squared, and it ends up being equal 289 equals 289. So yes, it is a right triangle. And why? Because the angles all add up according to the Pythagorean theorem formula. There are two types of special right triangles. There's the 45-90 or the 30-60-90. The 30-60-90 is a triangle divided in half, and the 45-90 is an isosceles right triangle, where it gives you the equation and it tells you to ask which the two sides are, which is quite simple, and I will show you the definition of both of these.
Sweet!
Ariana, did you finish your homework yet?
Yes, Mom, I did!
Congratulations!
Right?